Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a break for Stephen Shamus.
Good to see you, Alex. You look like a bottle of mustard today. You like the
nice
golden
yellow
mustard
shirt? Yeah, I went up. I'm a mustard man. It's a TV show. It's a radio show on WFMU. Double Dip Recess.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a lot of viewers. Sure, they have a lot of viewers.
A lot of listeners because it's radio. But yes, they do.
All right, Alex, what do we got on top?
Yeah, we're gonna have a fun one. We're gonna jump. We've talked about Spawn a little bit. We're gonna talk about Todd McFarlane's Spawn run and the most, the last maybe like 150 issues. There's been a lot of Homage covers, and they're amazing. So let's talk about those because those are heating up a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more Disney Plus. Let's talk a little War Machine. Let's talk a little Loki. Vote Loki. Little non-well-known miniseries from a few years ago that's now super well-known.
I know, it's funny, right? Because as soon as the commercials came out,
as soon as I was like, oh, I know what that's
Loki
from.
Loki. Yeah, I know. It's funny, right?
Should be a good show.
You never know which storyline it's going to come from.
You never know.
All right, cool. All right, what are we starting off with, Alex?
Yeah, let's jump into the Spawn homages.
What's interesting about Todd and Spawn is he did this whole run in a row in 2012 and 2013, and then later again in 2019 of all these homage covers.
Mm-hmm. Some of it to his own books.
Some of it to his own books. So listen,
love it.
You're a Mac when you can homage your own books, and everybody knows which book it is.
Yep.
That's when you are the Mac.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So Todd is a Mac. Okay. So let's start back in June of 2012. These are great, by the way.
Yeah, fantastic.
So we're only going to go through some of the rarer variants or the more expensive variants because some of the general covers were not homage covers. A lot of these are variant covers. And in some cases, some of the variants were too low ratios, so they don't sell for a lot of money. So we're really going to focus on the scarce printed ones and some of the variants that were only homage covers, because during this run, there were definitely some regular covers that were not homages. Mm-hmm. So back in June of 2012, Spawn number 220, he did a bunch of different covers. There were 3 different covers that were homages, mm-hmm. and they were all to his image buddies from the founders. So the first one, which is aptly called Cover D, very clever, right? Yeah. Cover D as in dog, was a 1 in 25 Savage Dragon #1 homage. Again, because it was a very, very low pop, there is not a lot of sales data on the book. Right. There are 40 blue label 9.8s, Alex, 3 gold label 9.8s. There's actually 2 9.9s. Very, very cool cover. It homages Eric Larson's Savage Dragon #1. Very, very popular book. And I do think that Spawn, like we've always discussed, Spawn has always had a decent sized print run. Yeah. But this was an interesting time to just pull Savage Dragon out, which is also a very, very, very long running series.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He writes and draws the whole thing.
Are you a Savage Dragon fan or?
I'm oddly enough, I've never read Savage Dragon, but I loved the cartoon when it came out in the 90s. Big fan of the cartoon and the toy.
Got it. Now cover E, which is his Youngblood buddy, mm-hmm. Rob Liefeld. That was a 1 in 50 cover. And there are 32 blue label 9.8s. There are only 10 gold label 9.8s. And that's about a $425 to $450 book. It's a 1 in 50 variant.
Solid, yeah.
So again, it homages Youngblood #1. So it's another very, very cool cover. And I guess he was thrown back to his image founders that month. Then cover F, as in Frank, was a sketch cover. 1 in 75. It's about a $300 book. There's only 24 blue labels. I'm surprised there's 0 gold labels because Todd does sign from time to time. And you would have thought that somebody would have gotten this book signed by now, right?
Yeah.
And that's an homage to Spawn 200, which was only 2 years earlier.
Right.
But again, a very, very cool cover. That's probably why it's only $300.
Yeah.
And then again, Todd had this run of like consecutive issues doing this, which was very, very cool. So the fans out there, when you see these covers that Alex posts on the screen after we talk about them, mm-hmm. you're going to see as soon as you see the covers, you're going to recognize the aesthetic of it because you're going to see the layout of it. It's going to
if you might not know what issue Amazing Spider-Man that he's homaging, once you see it, you're like, oh yeah, 100%. I know what that is.
Right. You're going to know in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So Spawn 221, which came out in July, 1 in 25 sketch cover is the Amazing Fantasy 15 homage with Spawn. Right. There are 31 blue label 9.8s. There are 21 gold label 9.8s, and there's one 9.9. So again, it's a very, very low pop.
Mm-hmm.
There's no sales data on it. A lot of these don't have sales data.
Yeah.
But the last one sold for $1,200. Again, there's only 31 pop on it. And I don't know that you're going to go back and find these books.
Loco.
Yeah, it's really, really crazy. Amazing Fantasy 15, of course, is.
I don't remember. Is that like a Hulk book or it's Spider-Man? It's the first Amazing Spider-Man, of course.
First Amazing Spider-Man, right? So it's a very, very cool cover. The next one makes me crack up because this is Todd homaging himself again, right? You got to have a nice size ego to do that.
Yep.
This came out in August of 2012. It's a 1 in 25 sketch cover. It's Amazing Spider-Man 316 homage. There are 25 blue label 9.8s. There are 10 gold label 9.8s. And the last one sold for about $1,200 also. Alex, these are big numbers for these homage covers.
Yeah.
And they were not, I don't believe, look, even if Spawn was always printing 100,000 copies, if it's 1 in 25, and obviously it's not evenly distributed because some stores might order 40, some might order 5, there's still a couple of thousand copies of these books out there.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of them, I mean, Spawn collectors aren't known to buy and flip their collection. Like, they're like, oh, I've been buying Spawn since issue 40. I'm gonna just keep them and keep reading them and keep owning them, and I have them. Like they're not available in the open market that often, especially these high covers.
Right, and 316, of course, is the first Venom cover.
Yep.
Where he's got Spider-Man in his grasp, and that's turned into a classic cover. So now in September of 2012, we had the Spawn 223 sketch cover. That is the Walking Dead #1 homage. Very, very interesting cover. There are 44 blue label 9.8s. There are 12 gold label 9.8s. And that's also about a $1,200 book, which, by the way, is almost as expensive as the regular Walking Dead #1 in the high grade.
I think it's safe to say Walking Dead #1 is probably the most homaged modern comics in the last, since the 2000s.
Yeah. Listen, it's when you think about the importance of the show, and it was sort of served as a, that show sort of served as a bridge from what you saw the X-Men films and the Fox Studio films. That was kind of a bridge when the Marvel Studios and the Marvel films started coming out. That really was a bridge of the two eras, right? And it kind of fell in there, and it created, quite frankly, a whole genre of movies. Yeah. I mean, when you think about all the Blumhouse films, and you think about all the Zombie Lands and all those films, I mean, those movies all, the derivatives of are derivatives to some degree of Walking Dead, right?
The success of the show helped it. Yeah.
Right.
Push that genre.
Success of the show. Absolutely. The next one is a very, very cool cover, Alex. October of 2012, Spawn 224. The 1 in 10 sketch cover is the Batman Dark Knight Returns #2 sketch cover. That is a very homaged cover. We've seen that a lot with a lot of those. The one Todd did is pretty awesome. Yeah. There are 61 blue label 9.8s. There are 12 gold label 9.8s, and that's about a $200 book, which I think is pretty reasonable. And again, I don't know why more people aren't getting that book signed by Todd. It's it's that awesome crowded shot.
Yep.
I think I can't remember somebody doing the crowded shot like that before him. To me, the artist that has perfected it, the best at is Joe Quesada. Yeah. To me, nobody does that shot like Joe. Look, the Frank Miller one was certainly the first one.
Yeah.
But the Quesada Thor covers, Hulk covers, Captain America covers, where he does that shot of those characters are so awesome.
Yeah.
They're so awesome. But listen, there's very, very few people who can pull this stuff off. I mean, Alex, we talk about this all the time. I look at covers from Jim Lee. I mean, really, it's Jim. The gold standards is really Jim and Joe.
Yeah.
Nobody can really pull off what they do. That's just my opinion. Yeah. I mean, Joe does stuff with perspective, and when he does the different perspectives and some of the things he did, that Scarlet Witch cover where it was the puzzle face.
Yeah.
I mean, like the House of M cover of Scarlet Witch. Joe, I actually own the original to that, believe it or not.
Oh wow.
Joe, I bought that so many years ago. I didn't even pay that much for it. I bought it over 10 years ago. He pulls off things that I think really only he can do. Jim does that also.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, that's why they are who they are.
Yep.
Okay. Spawn 225, November 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 1 in 20. I'm going to have you talk a little bit about them. The Obama cover, there's only 14 blue label 9.8s. There's only one gold label 9.8. And that is an homage to they're both homages to Watchmen #1.
Mm-hmm.
The Romney cover, there's only 9 blue label 9.8s. There's 0 gold label 9.8s. There's no pricing available because the pop is under 10.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit. Obviously, the Watchmen #1 cover is an iconic classic cover. Everybody knows that cover too. Talk a little bit about the Obamas and the Romney's covers, Alex.
The cool part about these books are they both said Obama wins and Romney wins. The election at that time hadn't come out yet, and so they just 50-50'd them and just put them out there. There's regular covers of these that aren't sketched, and it was such. I remember I was in the shop when these came out, and it was just really fun because it's like that the newspaper Dewey wins and he didn't. It's that
right.
old. It's that old adage again. With Amazing Spider-Man having the Obama cover when he first won the election, kind of really pushed these almost. I don't want to say political, but political covers. I mean, we had a lot of it when Obama came out, when Obama's second term, we had some more comics. Politics on comics and covers is actually something that is probably the last 15 years, and it's going to keep going.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see what happens with Biden, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next cover has been homaged so many times. This is Todd homaging himself again.
Yep.
Gotta love it. Spawn 226, January of 2013, the 1 in 25 sketch cover. It's the homage to Incredible Hulk 340. Probably Todd's most prolific cover, I would say. I mean, you could put the Spider-Man 326, 328. You could also put 316. I think 340 is probably
300.
It's probably, yes, but in terms of the aesthetic of the art.
Now this is that Wolverine Hulk cover.
Yeah, I mean, you could make an argument for the Spider-Man Hulk punch cover. Yep. You could make a case for the Captain America Spider-Man. To me, the top three are the Spider-Man Cap, the Hulk Spider-Man, and Hulk 340. Yep. Take your pick, Alex. Take your pick. Doesn't you know what I'm saying? And then there are 37 blue label 9.8s. There are 13 gold label 9.8s. So that again, the Hulk 340 book is just we've talked about that book itself.
Yeah. Over
the years, it's just again so clever with the perspective and the claws, and you see the face in the claws. It's unbelievable. And the next one is another homage of himself, Alex.
Yes.
Do you think he likes himself?
A little bit. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Spawn 227, January of 2013, 1 in 25. There are 33 blue label 9.8s. There are 28 gold label 9.8s. That's about a $1,300 book. It's Amazing Spider-Man 300 homage. That book is about a $4,000 book now, $4,000 or $5,000 and 9.8. Again, that's the book. That book has become a Grail modern era book. Alex, the 300, which we've seen, and I think that's why you're seeing the $1,300 price tag on that one.
Yeah.
On the next two issues, Todd did not go back to himself for some reason. I don't know why.
He gave himself a break.
He gave himself a break for 2 months.
Yeah.
Spawn 228, February of 2013, 1 in 25 sketch cover. There's only 19 blue label 9.8s. There's only 7 gold label 9.8s. It's the homage to Action 1. Again, another cover that's been done. Todd homaged that cover on Spider-Man on 313, by the way. So this is his second homage. So Alex, maybe you could make a case that Todd was homaging himself on the Spider-Man 313 and not Action 1.
An homage to 313 and not Action 1. Yeah.
And not Action 1, right?
Yeah, let's say that.
Action 1, the first Superman book, of course. Then the following month, I love this cover. Believe it or not, my favorite homage to the next one is the Kari Andrews Hulk cover. I believe he won an Eisner that year, Kari. I think that was the year he won the Eisner. His Hulk homage to the King Size Annual #1 is my personal favorite.
Yeah.
But he did it with the Hulk. He did Hulk on Hulk. Todd was doing Spawn, of course. Spawn 229, March of 2013, 1 in 25 sketch cover. 31 blue label 9.8s, 8 gold label 9.8s. It's about a $250+ book. It's an homage to Hulk King Size Annual #1. That book has been done a lot. Joe
Beautiful.
Bennett has done it with Hulk as well. I'm a huge fan of Joe Bennett's current Hulk. He has captured Hulk in a way that I have not seen probably since Dale Keown.
Yeah.
There's something about Joe Bennett's Hulk that is just monstrous. He's a monster.
Unintended.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
He like looks and feels like a monster.
Yeah. Totally.
Like Joe Bennett has really sort of captured.
Some guys
right?
just get the job and just take it.
Right artist, right book, right aesthetic.
Yeah.
Right? It's like Jenny Frison with Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Like even with Jenny, I love all of her other work, but her Wonder Woman work just stands out even above her other work. I'm not going to say, listen, I'm not in her head. I can't say that she enjoys drawing Wonder Woman more than the other characters.
But you could almost make that claim. Yeah, because it's just.
But like her Wonder Woman work is just so. Her Wonder Woman work is better than all of her other work. I mean, it's just right artist, right time, right character, captures that character in their, I guess, their most authentic self.
Right.
So, and Dale Keown did it with Hulk. Todd did it with Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, right? It's not easy to do.
Not at all.
Okay, so Todd goes back to homaging himself. Spawn number 230, April of 2013, 1 in 25 sketch cover. There's a Batman 423 homage. There are 25 blue label 9.8s, 5 gold label 9.8s. The last one sold for $900. I think the original Batman 423 is selling for that much now too.
Yeah.
That is the big piece. Cape. Yeah. Right. That's the big cape Batman. That is a hugely popular book. It's a book that people love to get, signature series by Todd. It's a tough to find book. It's not an easy to find book. And I think that cape, I think Todd's talked about it over the years. That cape was probably the basis for the Spawn cape that you saw.
Prototype. Yep. 100%.
Prototype. That was really when Todd was doing Batman, that and year 2. This was the first time you really saw that big, giant wing of a cape. And then lastly, in 2013, Todd homaged himself again, Spider-Man #1. That cover's been homaged many, many times. Clayton Crane did a good version of that.
Yeah, beautiful.
Clayton Crane's version was awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really quite awesome. It's been homaged many, many, many times. That's Spider-Man #1. It's Spawn number 231. Came out May of 2013, 1 in 25 sketch cover. There's only 33 blue label 9.8s, 26 gold label 9.8s. Again, there's no pricing information available. But again, these are all very
high amount of numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Look, Alex, we say it all the time. If you can get these books raw, buy them and try to get the 9.8s because you're seeing massive prices for these things. And I don't think they think these are an afterthought. Like no one's sitting around saying, hey, I need those Spawn variants from 7 years ago.
Yep.
So, Alex, after the 2013 series, there was a Spawn Thanks retailer edition that came out in May of 2017, 1 per retailer. We've seen that before.
Yep.
There are 490 blue label 9.8s, high pop,
That's
2 9.9 blue labels, 16 9.8 gold labels. That still sells for $275, that book. That's a Spider-Man 300 homage.
That's very high pop.
Right. And that's the second time you homage Spider-Man 300. And we're about to talk about the third time that he homages Spider-Man 300. So that takes us to 2017. Now we're going to go to 2019. So the anniversary of Spawn was coming up. And I think Todd took that time to commemorate the anniversary of Spider-Man. He started with Spider-Man on 298. So he did a countdown to 300, similar to what he did, and Alex, we've talked about this many, many times. That anniversary series, 298, 299, 300 Spider-Man, is critical.
Yeah.
Because of the Venom connection. Yep. So Todd was very smart. Countdown to 300.
Yep.
So starting in June of 2019, Spawn 298, which mirrored Spider-Man 298. They did a sketch cover. There are 39 blue label 9.8s. There's only 1 gold label 9.8, which is shocking, right?
It's very low.
It's a Spider-Man 298 homage. It's about a $60 book. So very, very cheap.
Yeah.
You should absolutely buy it and get it signed, by the way.
Yeah. $39. Yeah, it's really low.
Right.
That seems extremely low.
Extremely low, right? And then the countdown to 300 continues with $299 in July of 2019, 29 Blue Label 9.8s, 4 Gold Label 9.8s. That's also a $60 book, and that's an homage to Spider-Man $299. Again, he homaged the matches the cover. Now we get to 300. Pay close attention to 300 because he did a lot of different versions. We're only going to talk about the really, really limited and homage covers because there's a lot of different versions of 300. We're not going to get into the regular covers, the non-homage covers. We're only talking homage here. So the first one I want to talk about is cover J. Very clever. Came out in September of 2019. There are 385 Blue Label 9.8s. There's 262 Gold Label 9.8s. That book came out around the time of New York Comic Con, so people were smart. They just saved them up because they knew Todd was going to be there. That Blue Labels are about $100. You know, Gold Labels different story, but Blue Labels are about $100. I would buy one and save it for the next Todd signing.
Any 9.8 CGC comic that's $100, you're talking about the worth of the book and grading fees, and that's all you're paying for, and that's cheap. $100 is cheap.
And remember, the buyer who's the seller has to pay 10, 12%, PayPal,
Right,
eBay,
exactly.
blah, 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 blah. They got to pack it. They got to ship it. They got to schlep it. You know, it's not so easy. And they did all the work to get the 9.8. You know, 9.6 is worth a lot less.
Yep.
All right, here's where we start getting into the pricey books.
Yeah.
The second printing silver foil edition from New York Comic Con was limited to 1,500. The lines were crazy. You remember that, Alex?
It was, you didn't want to go anywhere near the Image booth.
It was like a
time.
mob. It was a mob scene over there.
Yeah.
I saw I had a friend in line. He's like, it was
no
crazy. So that came out in October of 2019, New York Comic Con. 151 Blue Label 9.8s, 129 Gold Label 9.8s, of course, because Todd was physically there, which is interesting, right? There's 1,500 copies printed, and 280 of them are encased.
Yeah,
it's pretty decent, right? Blue Label 9.8s are $250 plus. I would buy one and get it signed by Todd for the next signing.
Yep.
And now we get into the real craziness, Alex, was the second printing gold foil edition limited to 500. People were brawling and fighting and this and that. I don't know if they were brawling and fighting, but they were jostling for position to get the gold ones. That we know for sure. Limited to 500, 59 Blue Label 9.8s, 78 Gold Label 9.8s. Again, you're looking at 137 out of the 500 copies are graded.
Yeah.
Blue Label 9.8s are $1,000. So, you know, that's already pricey. That's the book that everybody wants. That's the Spawn Collector's book. That's the book that everybody wants.
That's the one. Yep.
Right. And then, of course, you go into the third prints, the fourth prints. So the third print came out in November of 2019. That's an $85 book, 84 Blue Label 9.8s, 50 Gold Label 9.8s. The fourth print came out in December. There are 67 Blue Label 9.8s, 0 Gold Label 9.8s, because you know why? That was after the show.
Yep.
You didn't have a chance to send it. You know, Todd signed in January. People didn't have time to get the book and send it in.
Exactly.
They missed the cutoff because there were 50 of the third print graded signature series, 0 of the fourth print. That's the book to buy, Alex. You buy the fourth print.
Yep.
About $75 Blue Label. So that clears Spider-Man 300. And then Todd continued the tradition, ended it with 301, which is the following issue. So 301 came out in October of 2019, same New York Comic Con, which is why you're going to see a lot of signature series in the pop here. Homage to Amazing Spider-Man 301, which is very similar to 300. It's cover H. It's a $75 book. There are 123 Blue Label 9.8s. There are 130 Gold Label 9.8s. Alex, we've been doing the show for a long time.
Yes.
This is the first time we've seen more golds than blues, correct?
That's right. Yep. I don't remember another book at all.
I don't remember a number of books. So again, 130 is still not a high pop, but it's a Blue Label $75 book. Again, a very, very cool book to get signed if you can crack it out. The second print was given out at the Alamo Draft House, November of 2019. Todd did a signing. It was an inauguration. So the people who were there could get their book signed.
Right.
It's interesting. A lot of people did not get their book signed, and you're going to find the second book that has more Blue Label, more Gold Labels than Blue Labels. There are 60 Blue Label 9.8s. There's 103 Gold Label 9.8s because when they handed out the book, Todd was there signing.
Yeah.
So the Blue Labels are about $150 on those. Those are a little tricky because you had to go to the Alamo Draft House to get it. And then the final homage for Todd that we're going to cover today, obviously there's a lot more, but these are the ones we're going to cover today. December 2019 was the third print, sketch cover, that must have been a low pop book, Alex, because there's 61 blue label 9/8. There's only one gold label 9.8. Again, that book didn't make the cutoff for the Todd signing.
Right.
You probably would have had to overnight it to get it there. So that'll be done at the next Todd signing. A blue label is about $175.
Yeah.
So that wraps us up for the Spawn homage covers.
Yeah.
A lot of Spawn. We hope you know it out there. If you
There's
find the raw copies.
Yeah.
There's some deals in there. Absolutely. All right. It brings us to the time of the show that we all look forward to every week. Alex's pick of the week. Alex, what do you got for us?
I'm so sorry if you're not a Star Wars fan, but I'm gonna keep going with Star Wars in the picks because we just had this past week Star Wars High Republic #1 comic book came out with also a novel by Charles Soule that came out the day before. High Republic, if anybody doesn't know, is the new kind of publishing Star Wars initiative. There's a bunch of novels coming out, kids novels, YA, adult novels, comic books, and I believe they're doing some audio stuff. There might even be a cartoon in the future, but this is stuff that happened about 400 years before the Phantom Menace. Why I'm bringing this up is the Star Wars Twitter and website and all that stuff. They put out a video, like a small clip of like, here's what we're doing for the next couple of years on the Star Wars High Republic. And of course, every single one of these characters, the comic book and the novel, it's their first appearance. This is what you're going to see publishing wise, right. Star Wars for the next few years. And these are characters. And it helps that Yoda is alive during this time and he'll be a character in this stuff. But, you know, we're seeing all these characters, first appearances of Star Wars Legacy, High Republic, all this other stuff. There's characters that probably won't be in canon in the Star Wars stuff, jumping up the crazy prices. This is new Star Wars canon. This is a book with 5 or 6 first appearances in it. I think raw books are already going for $15. There's no CGC on them yet. But if you have a local, I would get it. Get the second prints. Second prints are coming out very soon. I think they're on FSC close. So I think hedging your bets on the new High Republic Star Wars stuff is a good idea.
So you're saying you're a Star Wars fan?
A little bit. I don't know if nobody knew that.
No, I don't watch the show every week, so I don't know. All right, what do we got next, Alex?
Yeah, let's talk Loki vote. Or vote
so
Loki.
So we wanted to touch on Vote Loki because there's no pop on it yet because once the commercials came out for Loki, I was obviously based on the Vote Loki storyline with the little head with the little horns.
Yeah,
oh my god, oh my god, Tom looks great. Anyway, so we're going to talk raw only today. Because I think that you should be on the lookout for some raw books, copies of this book. I would buy them up, try to get some high grades and try to send them into CGC. Mm-hmm. So we're only going to talk about the key books or the key variants because some of them have variant covers that aren't really appropriate to get signed or don't, they're just random variants that don't really play into the Vote Loki covers. So Vote Loki #1 came out in August of 2016. It's got a Tradmore cover. And it's a $20 to $25 book now. Alex, that book has doubled after that commercial came out. That book was like $8, $6, $8. I mean, you could probably find it for $4 or $5. It's a $20 to $25.
I'm sure some shops still had them on their wall for cover price, just trying to sell them.
Right. So there is a Valerio Schiti 1 in 25 variant, gorgeous cover.
Yes.
That's a $50 to $75 book now. Then there's the Stephanie Hans fried pie variant. Mm-hmm. That's a $15 to $20 book. So those are really the 3 Vote Lokis.
Yeah.
We'll see. I wonder if the show's going to credit Christopher Hastings or
definitely.
They will credit him.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like of all the storylines, that's the one they picked in 2016. Then Vote Loki #2. I don't think that Vote Loki #2 is really the right cover. The basic issues aren't worth that much. And the variant has a Jane Foster Thor on the cover, which is not really pertaining to the TV series. So that's not a book that I would use as connected to the TV show as much. Vote Loki #3, of course, from October of 2016. The book to buy is the Francesco Francavilla cover. That one's a great cover.
Yes.
That's a 1 in 25 variant.
Yeah.
That's a $20 to $25 book. And then in November, The David Lopez 1 in 25 variant, Vote Loki #4, is about a $20 to $25 book. So you heard it here first. You want Vote Loki #1 Trad, Vote Loki #1 Sheety, Vote Loki #1 Stephanie Hans Fried Pie, Vote Loki #3 Frank Avila cover, and Vote Loki #4 David Lopez cover. Those are the 4 covers you should be on the lookout for. Once the series hits, once those books start submitting to CGC, forget about it. Forget it, Alex. You know what I'm saying.
I know.
All right. What do you got last for us, Alex?
Yeah, let's just cover War Machine. I know we've talked about it in the past, but let's just cover it a little bit more. There's a couple more variants we really didn't talk about that are out there.
Yeah. So on Iron Man 281, 282, we've covered those before.
Yeah.
281 is the cameo, June of 1992. War Machine is part of the new Marvel, universe with Disney Plus going forward. That was part of their investor analysis. You're going to start to see these books jump again. Don Cheadle is back. Everybody loves Don Cheadle. He is War Machine. I mean, that's it. He is War Machine. June of 1992, 88 Blue Label 9.8s, 10 Gold Label 9.8s. There's actually one 10.0. That's about $150. There is a very, very rare Australian price variant. I think at any grade you could find one, just buy it.
Yep.
Any grade, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Iron Man 282 came out in July of 1992. That is the first full appearance of War Machine. 592 Blue Label 9.8s, 52 Gold Label 9.8s. There are 2 9.9s. I will tell you, at $350, I don't understand how that book, based on every other book that we talk about and the prices of all these other books, how is that book not $1,000?
I don't know. And now's grab one now, because it's never gonna drop, and it's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get higher.
Right. And then the last one I want to talk about is Iron Man 283, which is really my favorite cover of all of them. It's just an amazing cover. And this makes a great signature series book.
Totally.
It's August of 1992, 73 Blue Label 9.8s, 8 Gold Label 9.8s. I wish I had gotten one signed by Don Cheadle. I really feel like I could have. It's only about $100 in 9.8. It's a great buy right now. And I think once the show comes out, that one's going to shoot up, because those are really the 3 key War Machine books.
Yeah. I agree.
All right, Alex, I think that does it for today.
It was
another great show.
Fantastic show.
Wow. I see what you're trying to do there, Alex. I see what you're trying to do. But thank you for joining us. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out, put it in the comments.
Yes.
And thank you guys again for joining us. And we will see you next week. Same bat time.
Same bat channel. Thanks, guys. Bye.